All right, so warming up to a 365, 375 AMRAP today. Using the squat bar, so it feels way better. A little bit thicker, so I have a little bit more mid-range to my forearms, because I do have big hands. So I feel a lot more control on the way down. And downside feels heavier in the hands. Upside, technique's way better. Elbows feel way better. It's fucking awesome. And then there's also a bunch of feds where you bench with a bench bar, which essentially just feels like a Texas squat bar. Three, two. We're good. Three, two. Tight. Come on. Come on. Come on. Tight. You got it. Up. One more. Come on. Come on. Up. 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 Yep. Whew. That's really hard. That was 10 though. Hit 374 for 10, which is a 9-pound PR. I'm down about 20 pounds, 22 pounds in body weight since the last time I hit a 10 rep max, which was 365. So pretty happy with that. You know, the goal in the next 6-7 months is probably near, probably 402 to 405 for 10. And if I can hit that, I can probably hit 5, but 374 for 10 probably populates the 1 rep max. 463, 474, which I'm pretty happy about. But yeah, just do what I'm good at, not doing what I'm not good at. The big thing too is oftentimes people are like, work on your weaknesses, work on your weaknesses, work on your weaknesses. Kind of makes sense. It's also kind of fucking dumb, because if you are disproportionately good at something and it makes up a huge component of your total and the other ones are really bad, then sure. But if you're pretty good at all three and you're better at one, you're probably going to make the most progress out on that the most quickly. So yeah, focus on prioritizing and progressing on all three lifts, but if you're fucking really good at squat, you can just keep getting better at squat, and it's probably not going to negatively affect bench and deadlift, and you don't want to deprioritize something you're good at, because the long-term consequence of that is you may end up with a less total net positive. So we're going high incline Smith. The idea behind this is I push pretty hard on the dumbbells, and the issue that I'm running into is just kind of total degree of recoverability. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to pick a starting point. I'm going to accumulate 30 total reps, add 10 pounds a week, just accumulate 30 total reps over however many sets I feel like, right? So if I'm really cooked, it might be 4 sets of 8 instead of 2, and if I'm feeling good, I might do 2 AMRAPs, but just hitting that 30 total rep marker and then linearly progressing that on a week-to-week basis. And it should actually work out pretty well, because it gives me that variability week to week to make sure I'm still progressing, but I'm not putting myself in a fatigue hole. So we got Vince here. He's actually going to school. He's actually going to school to be a cosmetology nurse, so he's going to be doing Botox, lip filler, lipolysis treatments. And he said that it's been his life's goal, because his goal from the start was to be a human Ken doll. So I'm really happy for him pursuing this. And yeah, I think eventually he's going to transition, but other than that, I mean, he's doing really well. He's in school right now. It's really, really hard. So when I'm doing this, I start super flat back, super internally rotated. And then as I push myself through, I lose the thumb, cue myself into ER. So start here, push myself into ER. And then on the way down, I'm pulling the rib cage up, push. So, idea behind that is obviously pretty cooked from the heavy bench, but if I can just have a starting point on this, when I restart that 3-week cycle of bench next week, and those things are lighter, I could probably take this for 2 AMRAPs and not dig myself into a hole. but that 30 rep count gives me variability week to week and allows me to still progress on it linearly while being able to progress linearly on my main work. So having that variability in your accessory work is really, really important, especially as you get up there in age, because the chances of you being able to hammer and push that super, super hard every week, unless you're on a boatload of drugs, which I'm not, is pretty low. Let it settle, make a muscle right here. Brace. Chin, good. 2 more, reset your brace. Chin, fuck yeah. Last one. Drive. Easy. So, all Vince is doing, super basic linear progression. Literally, you know, his max probably right now on high bar is 385, maybe 405. So all we're doing is we're overreaching, deloading, and then hitting an AMRAP. So first week he did what, 3 triples? Second week he did 6 triples. Week 3 he's deloading, 2 triples. Week 4 is AMRAPing at 365. All the triples are at 315. And then what we should notice is that's essentially a peak taper and then some kind of high output on the week 4. And we should notice 6, 7, 8 reps on that 365, which is going to be a huge improvement. But people get so hyper complicated when it comes to programming, and it's like, well, you can just have them do a bunch of sub-max work, deload, and then see what progress you've made with a rep max, as opposed to having them go heavy again. And then you can reasonably rinse and repeat that progression for months and months and months and months, ad infinitum, ad nauseum, until they have a big total. It doesn't have to be complicated. Cycling in new bicep and tricep variations, the idea behind this is my shoulder's a little bit gummy. I'm feeling it a little bit on things like bench, and it's likely because I've, you know, obviously gotten tight through here due to bench. So getting myself into that overhead range and loading UD joint into that overhead range is going to make things feel a lot better and free things up without having to do a ton of stretching. So hide the vegetables and the spaghetti sauce. If you can do something loaded that works on that mobility as opposed to wasting your time doing a bunch of stretching, it's probably going to carry over better, especially if you're advanced, because your nervous system, when it comes to really basic shit like stretching, it's probably going to be like, I don't fucking care, this isn't doing anything. Pull slack and toes, then wedge in. Yeah, more slack, right? Pull harder. You should feel, when that slack happens, you should feel the shoulder blades stretch forward. You should use your legs to protract them, don't purposefully protract them. You want them passively pushed into that position. Toes in upper back. Good. Yes. Better. Clean it up in the last one. Make it perfect. Yes. So what we have here with Vince is what's known as a skill issue. So he doesn't have the skill to do it. Vince's toxic trait is every single time he comes into deadlift, for whatever reason, he stops at Cinemark and he gets popcorn. And he gets extra butter on his popcorn. And then he ends up with Butterfingers, and then he drops the fucking bar. I personally don't have popcorn pre-workout. I have it post-workout. So then my hands are greasy for the rest of the day doing other stuff.
Yeah, your hands are greasy so you can jerk off afterwards.
Hey, 4 years, no fap. No jerking off. And you know what? That's because I don't want to release my vital spirit energy. Right. Okay, I want to keep it inside, right? I want my balls to ache when I'm working out.
Retention max.
It's like those bulls, you know what I mean? They don't let them fucking, and then so they're angry, and then those are the bulls they use. Yeah, and then those are the ones they use for the bullfighting because they're just so mad. But then the funny thing when you think about it, it's like, are they mad because they want to fuck the matador? They're like, I'm just gonna get it out. Yeah. And then it's like, are they trying to trample him so they can fucking put it in him? Maybe. So reasonably, if you like coming to the gym, you don't have to train a bunch of stuff on the same day, right? Like my upper days, I used to do primary bench, secondary bench, pecs, delts, lats, triceps, biceps, upper back. And you know, my session would take 2.5, 3 hours, but now I just do pressing and arms. The next day I'll come in and do back. I'll do some shoulders another time. And you know, I come in 5 or 6 days a week, but my sessions are maybe an hour, hour and 50 minutes, and it's way more enjoyable. And I'm still making progress because I'm not so cooked by the end of the session that, you know, I'm hitting 65% of what I could do if I was fresh. So something to think about. Microdoses of stimulus do help. And it also makes it more fun because you just come in for an hour and 15 minutes, fucking send it, go home and eat. Anyways, that's today. Stay based. Talk soon.